Welcome, broadcasting the entirety of the Super Smash Bros. Community. This is Beyond the Metagame. I'm your host, Peon, this week live from the gold mine. AV, they're just in here painting iron gold.
Yeah, that's exactly what Wario would do. We're actually in Wario's gold mine, and he's doing some pretty shady stuff right now.
Why is Wario's gold mine such a difficult course in Mario Kart Wii? But in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, that thing's like it's like a parking lot in comparison. It's like the easiest little track.
Yeah, it's actually kind of true. I mean, I personally, I actually didn't really struggle with it in Mario Kart Wii, because in Mario Kart Wii, I had Funky Kong, the greatest character to ever grace any video game. And I had Funky Kong, and nothing could stop me when I had that. When I had him by my side,
dude, they could re-release Mario Kart Wii, and it's been so long that people probably forgot that Funky Kong's inclusion, was a thing in Mario Kart Wii. They could just package it as like the new funky mode of Mario Kart Wii. I guarantee people would buy it. Oh, dude, sick new funky mode. All right, I'd buy it. Hell.
Yeah, I would absolutely. That would be instant buy for me. Anything with Funky Kong. Like I literally watch Funky Kong ASMR on on YouTube.
AV unfortunately is not kidding. But speaking of Funky Kong, man, what an internationally beloved character. What if there's one thing that unites us all in this world, I think it is Funky Kong. And guys, we have Funky Kong appreciators from 3 different countries this week: Dominican Republic, South Africa, and Italy. All chiming in, all downloading Beyond the Metagame. Guys, thank you so much for listening from those countries and from wherever you're listening. AV, you and I this week are going to be talking about where we're at right now with Smash Ultimate and how we're preparing, how we're improving, and how we're looking forward to Genesis 6, man. You got anything to say before we get into it?
Yeah. I think that we do a really good job of kind of exposing ourselves of like where have we struggled in the metagame. Like we do talk about where we've gotten our W's, but something that I ask you to look for is like, while both of us are like talking about our respective struggles in this game, look for something that look for a wall that you might be hitting, a plateau that you might be running on, and try to glean some of that information to help it inform your next steps in your competitive future.
Awesome, man. Well, all that and more in just 1 second. Welcome back to Beyond the Metagame. This week, AV and I are here to update you with where we're at in the game. Additionally, we want to take some time to, kind of pour our hearts out and express what we think is important for the future, what we've learned already. AV, just going right at you. How has your opinion of the game changed since our first update video right after the launch of Smash Ultimate?
I mean, now that I've had the game in my hands for a decent amount of time, I don't know how much has directly changed that I can just like immediately be able to voice, which is really funny, because obviously I've developed a lot as an Ultimate player in these last 6.5 weeks, but sometimes it's hard to kind of voice exactly what I've developed. I mean, yes, I've learned some tech like attack canceling. I've learned how to dash dance properly in this game, instant turnaround back airs. Learned how to down B B reverse aerial up smash as DK. But I'm having trouble kind of voicing that. What are you really getting out of the game that you didn't at like maybe the first week?
Well, I'm just really enjoying the game. I mean, I really loved the game the first time I ever touched it. Like it was like kind of a Cinderella. Like I'm looking at the Prince Charming and the slipper fits, and I'm like, wow, this is just feels right in my hands. It had this familiar touch that it was both new and like I said, familiar. And I loved it instantly. And I was wondering, okay, is this like a honeymoon phase? Like, am I gonna look back at Ultimate like a month from now and be like, oh no, what did I do? What have I gotten myself into? But that hasn't happened, at least not yet. I still love the game. I still had so much fun with it, and yeah, I have gotten a lot better at it. But speaking practically, we talked in our last update video at length of what we thought was going to be important going on and our kind of plan on how to tackle Ultimate. How has your opinion of the actual mechanics changed? What did the community get wrong, or what did we get wrong?
Um, I think the community is still continuing to get how like the strength of characters wrong, which is expected. I don't think that people are going to have a good pulse on that until like until we get like another like 2 or 3 months of consistent data. I think people have a hard time understanding the value of certain techniques. I know you've spoken at length with people about the values of attack canceling, especially people who have told you that it's not worth learning. And I know that you've been able to convince people in one way or another. I mean, we call you the emissary or the avatar or the Jesus of attack canceling.
Wow.
And I want to, and it's like, so I want you to tell me what your experience has been in that, and more similarly how you asked me.
Yeah, that's a funny question. I think, I mean, the Jesus might be. I think you
All
were
right,
quoting
I'll
me,
stretch
but yeah, that might be a little strong. But yeah, no, I have been a huge advocate for attack canceling as well as some other tech, and I have encountered that. Like in the BTM community, if you're listening to the show, you're probably someone that wants to improve at the game. You're probably someone that has an open mind about improving, that enjoys the game, and is really committed to the game. Right? I mean, you're listening to a Smash podcast. So you probably hear us talk about attack canceling or whatever, it could be any tech, and be like, wow, that's good, I should learn that. But I still play, I'm very active in my own local community, and I encounter a lot of players all the time. Like, yo, Peon, how do you do that one thing? And I explain it to them. They're like, that sounds too hard. Like, that doesn't seem like, that doesn't seem worth putting time into. And I think Beyond the Metagame has kind of spoiled me, because like I said, everybody I interact with in our community is super gung-ho about every opportunity to learn a new technique. And then I encounter all these people in the real world who are so afraid of change and so desperately fear the time investment of learning stuff. And it is kind of funny. I think that the community as a whole is more resistant to change than I thought they'd be. I mean, you hear people at the end of Smash 4 complaining, dude, Smash 4 sucks, I just want something new. And then Smash Ultimate comes out and they're loving the game, but they're still so set in their ways, and they still kind of wish things were, they're favoring familiarity to things that are better, to improvement. They're settling, right? It's like that old girl you got back home, and you guys fight a lot, and she hates your family, you hate her family, but she's there for you. You don't have to go to the bar. You don't have to make a Tinder account and find someone new. And maybe people are kind of having that kind of a crisis.
Yeah, like the girl next door syndrome. That's interesting. Although I feel like the girl next door is not always is not always the easy one to come back to. Sometimes that's like something that I feel like that's that I'll give it to you. That works as a pretty good analogy.
Avi, you're starting to sound like you have a cute little neighbor that you haven't told me about. Do you got a girl in the house across the street? What's going on?
Actually, no. There's like no one that I'm interested in like a 2-mile radius.
Did you just like sweep the streets like a falcon, just like going back and forth, like?
Yeah, I got
scouting?
like a Doppler. I got a Doppler radar deployed on a drone, like about few hundred feet up.
Yeah. Hunting for honeys.
Yeah.
All right, I respect that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, it's
I think, regardless, I do think that people as a whole have been like so resistant to a lot of the tech, to a lot of the new developments. Even playstyle changes. I mean, Smash Four, for instance, you could totally just sit on the ledge and watch people recover and just ledge trap. Ledge trapping is really important in this game. A lot of the time, ledge trapping and edge guarding is really important. So you have to make that choice. Do I go down there? Do I just hold my position? And a lot of Smash 4 players I've noticed are just ledge trapping. And a lot of Melee players are only edge guarding. It's funny. Like, you play a set against somebody and you instantly know whether they played Smash 4 or Melee before Ultimate based on their edge guard habits.
yeah, that's actually something that's really funny because there's this one really, really talented melee player that switched over to Ultimate, and I think he's getting top three or even like first in nearly every tournament that he enters. And he's very, very aggro, very movement and like edge guard focused. And so I absolutely see that, but it's awesome to see how his playstyle was able to wonderfully transfer over from this game that's so far removed from Ultimate. And I think that's something that's super interesting.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I love that story. I love hearing that because at my local scene, there's a lot of Melee players jumping in the mix too. And I know a lot of our listeners are predominantly Melee players. Before Ultimate dropped, I've talked to a few of them that are like, "Yeah, I love Melee. Ultimate seems pretty cool." And I think Nintendo from the get go, like when they announced the Invitational, they invited half Melee players, half Smash 4 players. It was very clear that I think they were saying, "Look, this is the game to bridge the communities. This is what we're at least attempting to do. So, good luck, have fun. We'll throw it out into the world, and you guys do with it what you will." And you're seeing like Mango and Larry play, Larry Lur, and you're seeing Armada's playing with Cosmos and Tweak and Keitaro. It's like what a world we live in. And yeah, in my local scene, your local scene, Melee players and Smash 4 players are living in harmony. You know what I mean? We're learning each other's languages. We're speaking no longer in gestures, but we're exchanging words face to face, understanding each other. It's this wonderful thing. It's like Thanksgiving dinner, where two different cultures are meeting and eating corn.
Absolutely. I know I love to riff on this one theory that both of us have developed together about Smash being an incredibly emotional experience. And I think this kind of expresses it in a different vein that than we're generally used to. It's like you said, it's like two different languages coming at each other, and it's just as personable, even though even though it's two completely different play styles. And it's a lot like the fact that some things across languages are just universal, like laughter. Like it's like no matter what, there's like certain facial expressions and human like nonverbal communication that's just super universal. Obviously there's some things that that mean completely opposite things or don't really translate, but you can kind of get where I'm going with this.
Yeah, it's funny to go back to my like Thanksgiving dinner example. It's like you put two cultures together, and you have a dinner, and you're Indian, Abby. Maybe you bring the, I don't know, naan. What's Indian food other than naan? Curry. You bring the
Sure,
curry, and
sure.
I'm a ginger. I bring like the Irish like corned beef and hash,
Dude, I
right?
bring mashed potatoes to things.
No, dude.
I'm an
Let's just say,
American.
I know you're an American. I'm not an Irish guy. I'm just saying for simplicity's sake. I bring my Irish dish, you bring your Indian dish, right? And we kind of both are able to understand kind of the culture. We're starting to understand each other's background and how our people came to be. And it's kind of this beautiful exchange. And it's kind of the same thing in an Ultimate set where I'll play against a Melee player and I'll see his tendencies and how starkly they differ from the tendencies of a lot of other Smash 4 players that I play against. And it's kind of fun. It's like, we're face to face and I kind of see your past and you see my past. But right now we're together and we're sharing this space and it's fun. I love this analogy.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely love it too. Um, while I do love this, and I think that this like emotional development is something that'll be really awesome going in. Something that I found is not as progressive as I thought it would be, is the kind of reasons that I'm seeing people, is the kind of habits that I'm seeing people fall into, and the things that I see. that players getting wrong. Even myself, to be perfectly self-critical. I think that there's not that many new techniques. I know we talk a lot about attack canceling. I think we kind of lean on that a little much because it is kind of the big new thing in this game. I mean, there is parrying, like movement slightly different, jump squats are slightly different, but other than that, like people are losing doing the same mistakes. People are choosing the same options off of ledge. People are choosing the same options in tech roll situations. People don't mix up their approaches or don't know how to optimize their punish game. There's so many. There's I think the things that people are doing wrong are actually likely things that have crossed over from either other Smash games or maybe like things that have just materialized if this is their if this is their first game. What do you think? Do you think that people are still making mistakes that are akin to the ones that you saw in Smash 4?
Yeah, sure, sure. I think a lot of people are making a lot of the same mistakes too. I think you can take like a player, you can take. Well, what am I trying to say? I think even though you can start a new game, a lot of your previous habits do carry over. Maybe somebody's really calm under pressure and doesn't really make many mistakes when they're like last stock, last hit of a game. That kind of tendency is probably going to carry over in the next game too. Of course, there are these unifying things. I mean, just you mentioned yourself, Avi. Where do you find that your weaknesses and strengths have carried over?
Well, in some sense, like I was an extremely patient player that wasn't really that aggressive at all, and I kind of just played big punish. So in that sense, it was just kind of a complete that was just something that just kind of nerfed me going to this game. That's totally fine. Like I think the game needed to provide more avenues for aggressive play. And that's why we see some of these melee players doing really well. And I encourage that. I encourage that decision by Nintendo. So I think it's a good thing that I got nerfed coming to this game. But kind of my strengths going to the game were kind of being able to pick up characters and to relearn and to be able to learn at a really quick pace. But now that we've kind of hit this midpoint, well, this obviously there's going to be like years of this game after this, but it's a nice like stopping point to reevaluate. And now that we've hit this point, I find myself still like doing spot dodge after every one of my attack options whiff. I find myself not going off stage enough against players, especially in this game where people are not going to be air dodging as much due to the steep penalty that it confers to you off stage. There's still things that are just so basic. I'm like sometimes I'm not covering jump when when someone's doing jump over and over again. There's there's all of these things that are just so universal, and the thing is my brain is struggling so much to get rid of these habits, and I love it. I love that I'm hitting this wall right now, and I think it's good.
Yeah, dude, I will equate. I'm actually going through a very similar thing where I'm playing and I'm kind of just. It almost feels like my brain's under like the same sort of resistance that you would sustain either on a treadmill or doing like weightlifting, and you kind of feel that burn, but you know that while your head's hurting right now, and you know that your muscles are going to rebuild twice as strong in the future. That's kind of what it feels like. It feels like my brain is really getting a good workout. Like I'm being challenged in ways. A lot of my insecurities as a player are getting chewed up and spit back in my face. And it's like, whoa, like, look, I have so much to learn. And I'm really happy about that. I think to reflect back on how I was feeling a week out of the game's release, I was feeling so on top of the world. I was feeling so cocky. I felt like this game was built for me. I felt like this was my arena to succeed. This totally corresponds with my strengths and gets rid of my weaknesses. And I'm just going to be like super sick right at the gate. And I've entered quite a few locals since that our first episode. I've been participating in my scene actively, and it's kind of the thing where I'm not as dominant as I thought I'd be. I've gotten a lot of humbling losses. I've had some great wins too, but I've definitely been challenged, and it hasn't come as easily as I hoped it would. Perhaps foolishly hoped it would. Well, definitely foolishly. And the game is just so challenging and so rewarding as well. I love feeling like a noob. Like what? And it's crazy. Like we're only 6 weeks out. Like in a year from now, we're gonna look at our footage of playing now and be like, wow, we were so bad at this game at one point. But Av, what do you think right now? Like, how are you feeling in terms of what you thought you would be at this point and what you actually are?
Well, I mean, certain things have changed about me. I mean, I have adapted more of a stronger punish game and an inclination towards pushing my advantage in ways that I wouldn't in the past. But as a player on the whole, I have to be completely honest with myself, and I don't think that I've changed as much as I could have going from the previous game into this game. And I want to be completely honest with obviously the listeners and myself and say that I've struggled to basically take an initial hit, which I talk about and I encourage other and I try to like preach to other people, but I talk about this thing where you take an initial hit when you try to change your play style and you start performing like poorly for a bit before it really pays off. And the thing is, I'm still I keep taking these what do you call it? Like short-term gains by just playing my style that I'm used to because it works a lot of the time in friendlies and I win a lot of the time in friendlies playing my old play style, but I'm having a really hard time trying to completely change the way that
Well,
I think about the game.
well, your thing is that you in Smash 4 you were the master of shield grabs. Like you'd bait people to attack your shield, you'd grab them, and you'd kill them with Donkey Kong's kill confirms off grabs. And I've seen the BTM Discord lament about the horrors of your Donkey Kong shield grabs. And that's kind of a technique that, like, I mean, I'm sure that in person too, you're amazing at conditioning people to attack your shield and punishing appropriately. It's just what you're good at. I'm sure that you do it well in person, but especially online, it's gonna be so hard to space aerials and it's gonna be so hard to avoid getting shield grabbed. Whereas you look at high level play in Ultimate, there's very little shield grabbing going on ever.
Absolutely.
And I'm a little afraid for you, and I'm sure this applies to other people too, that like online play slash early play in general is positively reinforcing bad habits that are so fun to redeem now, but will not pay off in the future.
I agree. And the thing is I actually don't see that completely transfer over into my tournament play as just like you, maybe not as actively as you, but I've entered a few locals up here in NorCal, and obviously the competition's really steep right now with a lot of like really talented players playing the game up here. And I'm actually doing about as well as I did in Smash 4, which is cool. But again, like is this sustainable? Like am I still riding the high off of being able to play a play style that I used in Smash 4?
Yeah.
So that is absolutely something that I need to introspect and really figure out before I get stuck in my in my ways that and never actually like just punch through this wall and become a significant threat instead of just like an above average mid-level player.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, here's the situation. Next week, um, Friday, is the beginning of Genesis 6, a tournament which both you and I will be attending. Um, so right now, I hope that our initial play has paid off. We'll see. We'll update you guys. We'll let you know how we do. But what what are your plans moving forward to improve? How are you going to develop as a player going into Genesis and beyond?
So I've kind of outlined the framework of what I've been thinking about. It's
You
never,
have?
I mean, in a way, I've set everything up. Now I just got to knock it down.
So
But
like, was this like in
yeah,
preparation for like the podcast, or was this just like something you were thinking about by yourself?
well, I mean, all of the things that we were just talking about in terms of improvement. Like you said, what is my path forward?
Right.
And
Walk me down that path.
my path forward is literally just introspecting and thinking about my play. I think half of the work that I need to do is outside of playing the game. Like just something that we exactly something that we preach in this game. I need to really like knock down every single habit that I have and actively just squeeze it out of me. And the thing is that if is that I've been exposed by some really good players, and I know that players that are like three times better than the ones that beat me in NorCal, like obviously like your zeros and your Nairos are going to be sniffing out my habits like way faster. So in order to make sure that I at least have some fighting chance against really good players, I need to be very conscientious of my decisions. I don't think that there's any technical improvement that I can completely implement by next Friday. I'll be completely honest. Like I don't think that I think that I've my tech is in a decent spot. So all that I'm going to be doing is just doing some really deep reflection. How about you?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So I've already kind of started my process. Like a week and a half ago, I kind of came to terms like, man, my inkling right now, if I continue on this path, I feel like I'm just not getting the best. This just isn't the best character for me. It just isn't a good fit. And we spent a whole last week outlining this problem and and trying to correct it. And since then, I have been sticking to my guns. I've been playing as Crom, who you helped me come to the conclusion last week is a good character for me. And yeah, man, I've been doing great with him. I've been beating a lot of people, with my week one Crom. I've been doing a lot of great things with him. I'm really proud. I'm really proud of our choice because it's been paying off for me already. I really feel good with the character. Um, and and what I've kind of come to terms with is that Crom, as amazing as he is not a solo viable character. There are too many matchups that are just so absurdly bad that either you should just play Roy or play a different character. And there's other matchups where he's so absurdly good that I've never seen a character that I thought was so top tier and so polar. It's like if Little Mac was amazing. It's weird. Like that's really how he feels like to play as. Um, and so what does that leave me with? I could pick up some other characters. I can kind of diversify my roster. And that's kind of the conclusion I've came to. Is like Crom's still gonna be my main, but I'm gonna have some other characters in the secondary tier to pull out when I need to. And I'm gonna continue trying to play 3 or 4 different characters at a high level while focusing on Crom, just to get like a really solid foundation placed to prepare for any patches in the future, to just kind of get a really good feel for the game on all aspects. And let me tell you what, there's been some instances where I've had to revert back to the Inkling already this week. And my Inkling play has been so much better. And I attribute that to lessons I've learned with Crom and getting out of my comfort zone by playing Crom. And that's kind of my advice to both you and the listeners is spend some time diving into a couple other characters, and it'll pay dividends on all of your characters individually as well. That's kind of like my first play of what I'm going to be doing over the next couple of months.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do want to challenge you a bit, and I know that you've been doing a bit of bouncing around and you haven't really landed on a solo viable main yet, and at least in your hands. And I think I also want to kind of give you the opposite challenge in the sense that sticking with the character also gives you a bunch of experience that's really important, especially with learning how to overcome challenges given the tools that you have and not just switching over when you don't when you feel like you're hitting a wall. And I feel like some walls to be uh appear to be higher than they actually are, and a lot of them just need to be climbed with a different approach. I think one analogy that I want to use, which is really cool, I went rock climbing pretty recently,
You
and I
did?
found, yeah,
Like
and I mean,
on an actual
well,
mountain?
okay, not an actual mountain. It's the boring one. I went bouldering in an indoor rock climbing gym.
Oh no, that's
So
cool. That's cool.
yeah. So I mean, yeah. So it's still cool, but I haven't done it in a while. And what I realized was like it was really difficult initially, and I'd just be like hanging on the rock wall, and this would be a pretty easy climb, and I would be struggling when I'd just be hanging on there trying to fit, and I'm just trying to struggle while I'm on the wall, thinking that I can just use my strength to get me up, and I would fail. But what I would do is instead of just trying to struggle while I'm on there, I would plan everything in advance and do and then make sure I'm using as little effort as possible, and that actually got me to the top. And the way that I want to kind of bring this over to you is the fact that sometimes solutions to problems are a lot more elegant than just kind of than the brute force that or the current path that you've taken. So I encourage you to stick with the character and like somewhere in between of both of the strategies that we've given you.
Yeah, but my challenge to that is, how do you define elegance? What is elegant in terms of, your path to progress? I mean, it's kind of that's kind of what we're trying to chart. And I think everybody kind of has to do that their own way. I mean, for you, learning multiple characters might be the equivalent of bashing your head against the wall and grinding through it. For somebody else, you know, playing a matchup that's losing clearly over and over again against a good player is bashing their head against the wall. So for me, I think learning a couple other characters, I think I've been seeing this reflected in top level play. Like almost every really 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 good player has a team, has a squad strike team assembled that they've been like Tweak is playing Wolf, Wario, Cloud, MKLeo is playing Ike, and all the other Fire Emblem people. And I think that in this game, my theory is that like that's just the path of least resistance. That is the elegant solution, at least for me.
I feel like you answered your own question in the fact that uh, the path isn't directly obvious for everyone, and yes, maybe for you, uh, playing multiple characters to get different perspectives to eventually maybe further your main character's goals is the way to go. So I encourage people to try different stuff out and to just challenge them. No matter what you're doing, just feel like you're challenging yourself. If your brain isn't hurting a little when you're playing, then try to switch things up.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that's a good place to end that part of the conversation off. But AV, we had a big thing coming up here, man. Genesis
Yeah.
6. All right, this is California. We had to defend our home turf here, buddy. There's gonna be a lot of people out of region coming in, trying to compete with us surfers, with us movie stars. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
Californians, it's our duty to protect the homeland here at Genesis 6. How you feeling, buddy? This is gonna be your first Ultimate Major. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing to prepare?
So believe it or not, this is not just my first ultimate major. This is my first major.
That's crazy
This
that you've never been to a major before. You're
yeah,
gonna have
Dane,
you're gonna have so much because you've never seen any top players. You've never seen the big stage. You're gonna be like starstruck, maybe. It's gonna be hilarious.
yeah. I mean, I probably will be because I have not been. I think it's cool that we have you who's like been in this environment many times, and then me who's like it's like I've played competitively for a while and I've been around the competitive scene, but never in that environment. And the thing is, what I really wanted to talk about is how can someone like me who's going in for the first time, just like probably a bunch of like a lot of you who are planning to or are planning to go to a major tournament or going to Genesis 6, like how can you make the most out of it? And for me, my mindset going in is that I have zero expectations about how I'm going to do. But what I really want to do is I want to find awesome players of my character, of characters. I want to money match top players. I just want to spend a lot of time hearing how people talk about the game, getting as many different perspectives as I can out of the game. If I can do that, and if I can make my experience as diverse as possible and interact with as many different people in the community and reach out to as many people as possible, I think I will have had a successful event there. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, man. So to answer your question, like, what should someone like you do? Someone that's never been to a major, they're going to the first major. How should they go into it? And I think that for us, or for you rather, this is Genesis 6. For other people, it might just be like a really big local. Maybe it's their first tournament ever, right? Like everybody has their own kind of relative things, right? Like, but you're going straight into the lion's den here, buddy, and it's going to be incredible. First of all, going to your first major, there's a lot to consider. You said you don't have any competitive expectations. Other people might, and I think it's totally great to have competitive expectations going into something like Genesis 6, or, maybe there's a major near you or a big regional tournament, because this is kind of, a Smash Bros. Player's time to shine. This is our Super Bowl. This is our Indianapolis 500. You know what I mean? Like, this is the big event for us, and the prestige is overwhelming. You get into this huge, like airplane hangar sized venue. It's huge. There's gonna be thousands and thousands of people all in one huge room playing Smash. Everybody you've ever seen in the Smash community is going to be around you. You're going to be walking past, literally bumping into players that you so highly respect and value. And it's going to be crazy. And so the prestige of that, first of all, is undeniable, and you will not be ready for it. Last year, my first ever Genesis that I went to, Genesis 5, I was playing my first match. My hands were shaking. I'm not a stage fright kind of a guy. In high school, I played basketball in front of thousands of people yelling at me. Stage fright has never bothered me. My hands were shaking, AV. I was just too overwhelmed by it all.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you know me. You know that's weird for me.
That is very weird for you.
I'm confident to a fault, and the whole experience was really overwhelming for me, and it was lovely. I ended up winning that match. I had a great little run, made it out of pools, had a great time. But first of all, you will not be ready for the prestige of it all, for the scope of it all. So I just want you to start processing all that right now.
Yeah, I probably won't, but I feel like that's the kind of duality of our personalities. I am a stage, like I do have a lot of stage fright, even though I'm normally like very confident in the way that I carry myself. I have a lot of stage fright. But when it comes to events that are so like ridiculously sized, or so like or that I feel like are out of my league, like my expectations like drop to zero. And when my expectations are zero, I have zero fear whatsoever. No, you know what? But this could totally change going into next week. But that is like, it completely reverses in environments like that for me. And the thing is that I I just wanted to kind of explain what I thought I was gonna do, or get out of the tournament. But I actually look forward to being starstruck. I look forward to having my expectations completely shattered, even though even though I have none.
Dude,
So
you say
yeah,
that now. You say that now, thinking that
I
like,
know.
oh, there's so many.
I know. I'm
You're
gonna be super naive. I know I'm super naive.
and you're gonna sit down, and it's gonna be the most cool thing of all time. MK Leo is gonna be sitting to your left. There's gonna be thousands of people, all with their game face on, all playing their best. Maybe they're not trying to win, but they're there trying their hardest. And getting caught up in that, just the magnitude of how many people are there giving it their all over something that we're all mutually passionate about, it's contagious. There's no preventing it. You're gonna be overwhelmed by it. I'm just letting you know now.
All right. I look forward to it, man. I look forward to it.
Just ride the wave and enjoy it. All right.
Yeah, I do want to say that I feel like that there is some kind of like advantage going in super naive and I guess this naive and impressionable like Smash baby that I guess I am right now. And it's funny because I'm not I'm not like ignorant of the Smash community. I've lived in it for like 3 years now, 3.5 years, and like I've been in the trenches as a TO, as someone who helps stream, as a commentator, as a competitive player in the region. But yes, this is so completely out of my comfort zone.
Yeah. Well, you're weird like
Yeah.
that. You're such an outlier because you you are a host of a Smash Bros podcast. You have given your heart to this community, to this game, and you've never been to a major event. That's really weird. That's like, like a virgin celebrating their 10th wedding anniversary. It's just weird.
Like, but I mean, to be fair, like it's like this is something that I guess I'll always um talk about, is that like school is really important. And
Oh.
I really cared about
We're getting sidetracked, Av. That's not the point. The point is you're the champion of the mid-level player. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. I love it about you. You're gonna have fun. So that begs the question: what should you get out of it? What should anybody get out of these kind of events? And like you said, the most important thing that you could ever do is, first of all, well, two things. You pay hundreds of dollars for this. This is an event. A lot of people travel for this. People fly all over for this. They drive. It's a commitment to go to one of these things. So you better have fun. You better enjoy it. You better put yourself on the
I
on the
refuse. I absolutely refuse.
you better put yourself on the front page of the priority list, because this is a huge commitment. This is going to be really fun, but I want you to really just dive into it. I want you to make the most out of it in terms of, like, if you're mad, if you're angry, if you're like in a weird funk, save that for later. Put the funk in, like, suppress all your feelings, put it in a jar, bottle them up. I don't care. Have fun this weekend, and then you can ruin.
You're describing my normal life, dude.
But in terms of Smash,
Yeah.
I want you to challenge everybody in the venue, and especially top players. Guys, these top players are very lovely people, and guess what? They love Smash. That's their whole thing. So if you say, "Hey, can I play Smash with you?" They'll be like, "Yeah, I love Smash. Let's do it." Right? And that's the thing. Like, last year, MK Leo was there. It was like the night before. It was Thursday night before the Friday tournament started. And I'm like, "Leo, let's play, dude. I play Cloud, you play Cloud. Let's just do it, you and me, right now." And he was like, "Yeah, man. I love playing against Clouds. Let's play." We played for like an hour, just me and him, and it was awesome. He schooled me. I felt like I had never played the game before. I was like, wow. And he ended up winning Genesis 5. So it was fun, like, it was cool to play with him. And then I look back on that, like, wow, yeah, I grinded out with the champion for an hour that weekend. And, I played a lot of top players that weekend. I played a lot of, not even top players, but just high level players from all over the country, all over the world. And stuff like that is crazy. The amount of different play styles, the amount of different opinions people have, the amount of, like the different play styles are different manifestations of a mutual passion that you share with them. And it's this kind of really beautiful exchange of game styles and perspectives and theories and opinions. And it's beautiful, lovely, chaotic, and I advise you just to dive right in.
Yeah, I will be doing that and more. Like I said, I told you what my game plan was going in. Just going to get as many different experiences as possible, and think that fits right in with what you want me to do.
Dope, dude. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be there with you. We'll make sure we'll drink some brews. We'll make it a good time. All right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we'll double money. We'll doubles money match some people too. All right, bro.
It'll be solid, man.
Should say, while we're on the subject, guys, if you're going to Genesis 6, tweet at us, tell us in our Discord, do whatever you can. Say hi to us. We'd love to meet you guys face to face for sure. We're definitely gonna be meeting up with like N64 Josh and Nightcrawler, the Smash Bros. Cast guys too, that you might have heard in our bonus episode. So it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be a great time to celebrate Smash.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you all there, whoever's going, and yeah, like Peon said, make sure to message us in advance, because we'll definitely make time for everyone that wants to hang out.
For sure, man. Wait, you want to get into the questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So first off, guys, Nachos the dog asks us, how can you simulate having to play high stress matches one after the other? I guess, how can you build that sort of endurance? AV, take that one for us.
Yeah, sure. There's easy ways to do it, and that's kind of playing money matches. I mean, obviously, it is different. There's sort of kind of a different thing on the line Whereas in tournament, you kind of have your reputation and your PR spot, or what have you. Unlike in money matches, it's a kind of this very external reward that's just money, but it does make you play more serious. Maybe try doing that. Learn a lot of it's mindset based. For me, I try really hard in friendlies. I'm a bit of a tryhard, as is Peon. Even I will actually put words in his mouth. This is one time we're both a bit of tryhards, and that's why we're really good training partners. And if you can get into the habit of trying really hard and making zero excuses in your training sessions, you can build this endurance. You have to start taking a lot more responsibility for things you do in friendlies, even if you're using this time to build skills that you haven't had before. Um, just take some time, like some like chunk of your friendlies, and say, I'm going to try as hard as humanly possible, and I'm going to take responsibility for my losses. Taking responsibility is absolutely the biggest thing to simulate playing a high stress match, because when you lose a tournament match, like you have to take responsibility for it, and when you lose a friendly, you don't have to. So make sure to get into the habit of like literally just saying, okay, I lost that friendly match, and it was for this and this reasons, and it matters. Make it matter to you.
Yeah, I love your answer. I heard one of my buddies at my local today was like, I'm gonna practice this combo, but I'm gonna tether myself to a car battery, so if I mess up, I get shocked. And I hope they were kidding, but
Yeah,
either
I hope
way,
so too. That's dedication.
that's dedication. So yeah, maybe not the dog. Maybe just hook yourself up to a car battery. No, we didn't. Okay, before we get sued, BTM is not held accountable for any electronic shocks that are delivered.
All right, yeah. All right, anyway, let's go on to ice. Hey guys, how do you recover from tournaments where you don't do as well as you should have? Is there any way to turn the disappointing results into a positive experience or outcome?
Yeah, I really like this question from Ice because recently I've been kind of going through a thing where I feel like I've been a little disappointed in my results. I've gotten second place a lot in a lot of the Smash Ultimate locals in my region, and I'm coming from Smash 4, where if I didn't get first, I'd feel very disappointed. And perhaps there isn't. I shouldn't be placing such a stringent expectation on myself. Like, okay, if you either get first or you can't be happy. Like that's just not really realistic. Nor is it that productive, I think. So how am I taking these disappointing results and making them positive? For me, I really thrive when I have this kind of disappointment. It motivates me. It really kind of fuels my furnace where I channel that loss and I really am passionate about the loss. I'm okay. How do I beat this character? How do I beat this person? I go into the lab, I look at the VODs, and I use that kind of anger and disappointment and I channel it into productivity. That's kind of a strategy I employ in all aspects of my life. Like when I'm really down about something, when I'm really upset about something, I try to like I know that I can't fix it, so I just try to channel that wrath into something productive. Actually, BTM started beyond the metagame. I mean, this podcast started because I was really down and out. I was just in a funky part of my life. I just felt really terrible, down all the time. And I'm like, yo, AV, let's just do a podcast, man. I need something to sink. I need something to sink my heart into, man. I got too much on my mind, and it's been really healthy for me. And that's kind of what I try to do in game.
Yeah, I love that you have a bunch of personal examples of it, and it tied really well together. I love that emotional high. It's like whatever you do, like if you're angry or if you're sad, just like kind of ride it, like ride that passion. And I love that response. That's super cool. Uh, I think we should move on to the next question,
Yeah.
which is by Patrick Murphy 09. Now I'm gonna actually answer this. I'm gonna send this over to you again because I think you have a really good perspective on this.
Okay.
Um, so my buddy and I just signed up for our first doubles tourney ever. But this brought me to think: how do we approach the doubles metagame? I don't think that just going with our mains is going to be ideal. We've tried a few combos out, and but in my singles mentality, there's no way I'd want to play Ganon competitively because this guy has gotten some success with Ganon doubles. So how should we go around picking the team, establishing counter picks, and learning the metagame?
Patrick Murphy, I think that's actually a really great question. Should I have a whole different mindset when approaching doubles? Yes. Short answer, yes. Doubles is its own beautiful thing. I love doubles. I think AB knows that. That's why he threw it to me. And yeah, like heavier characters, the Ganons of the world, the Donkey Kongs, the Bowsers, they serve a different role in doubles than they do in singles. You know, they can pack a huge punch, and sometimes some of their weaknesses are nullified when in doubles, and sometimes they are heightened too. It kind of depends, but the meta is entirely different. That's my point. So a couple things, Patrick. What are your goals in doubles? Do you guys just want to have fun and play together? If that's the case, pick whatever team comp you guys want. Enjoy it. But in terms of learning the doubles metagame, a lot of the best doubles teams that I've seen so far combine a character that can get a lot of hits in, can approach, and a character that can reliably get a bunch of different kills, like the Croms of the world. I've seen King K. Rool do a lot of work. So that's the easiest way to go about it. Get a guy that can go in and get a guy that can end stocks. So maybe that's why that Ganon was working for you. It's because, you know, you're able to just like clean up stocks so easily. So yeah, just a good place to start is, do you and your teammate have a character that can satisfy that role where one of you guys can reliably get a bunch of kills? If that's the case, you know, maybe that's a good place to start. AV, anything to add?
I don't think so. I absolutely agree with most of what you said, in the fact that like doubles is a completely different metagame. Developing team synergy is a lot more important, more often than not, than developing any specific character. So yeah, definitely focus on understanding the ebb and flow, the call and response, the very like musical aspects of doubles before you really kind of focus on or commit to any specific character, because there's so much beautiful stuff to get into there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like have fun with doubles, especially early on into the meta game. Like, what is the doubles meta right now? We don't really know. Like, it's so early into the life of the game. So pick a comp that you guys enjoy, and lab some combos. Figure out if you can do any cool tricks off each other and get some reliable kills. And really enjoy it. Really make that team composition your own. Because, like Abhi said, two great, you know, teammates that have a lot of synergy with each other, as any characters, will destroy two people that have no synergy whatsoever. So that's I love doubles. Have fun with it though, for sure. And thanks for listening, Patrick Murphy.
Yeah, so I think that about wraps it up for us today. So Peon, where can people find you on social media?
People can find me at Peon_GCE. That's Golf Charlie Echo for all you military folk. And of course, you can find our show at Beyond Metagame. The Twitter left no room for the AV. Where can people find you, my friend?
People can find me at A plus Vaidyanatha, my long pronounceable Indian last name. Yeah, it's it'll happen one day. People
I noticed you have 0 followers. Were people just unable to spell that?
No, people get turned off by all of the weird stuff you post on my timeline every day.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. All right, man. So it was awesome talking to you about this, and I'm really excited for Genesis 6.
Yeah, man, should be great. We do have an awesome episode coming down the pipeline, either this week or the next week. We have a really awesome guest that I can't wait to share with you guys. It's going to be really fun, for sure. No spoilers, but just, you know, keep your ear up. Maybe keep your eyes at that podcast feed. You might see something pretty novel, pretty cool in the future. In the meantime, join our Discord. You'll see a link in the show notes and in the YouTube description, as well as on our website. We have a link to it. It's a great, fun community. We're growing every day, exponentially almost. We're like a bacteria. Do bacteria grow exponentially?
I believe so, in the proper environments, and then they reach carrying capacity. Then it's
exactly like that. The BTM Discord is growing, and guys, there's never been a better time to join than now. So give it a look. A lot of really nice people, a lot of really people that are really into playing games. They want to find matches, and they want to kind of constructively level up together. A really great community already building there. But guys, that's all for this week. As always, thank you so much for listening, and goodbye.